Hello and good evening everybody, welcome along to GT Sport Race on Oz Season 15 and we are here at Willow Springs and you are hosted by
the Super B team. Let's quickly go through the grid here. We got GT King, Tubstar, Disco Stew. No, that's 13th. Looked like 3 on my screen. Anyway, let's get into it. We'll get the grid later. We've got some more names on the left there. Groove, Banana Josh, Fubbles, Emo, Ursine, Jono. That's all we can see for now. Revs go high and they're off. GT King with a good jump there, or it could have been that Tubster just didn't get away very well. We've got Groover on his outside, so I think the latter might have been true. Heading into turn 1, keeping it clean hopefully. See if anyone flies off the edge of the corner there. No, they've kept it in nice and clean. GT King though, already making a break for it early on.
Great start from GT King there, and Tubster and Groover are going at it for P2. Of course, it was a Gamesman Racing Team 1-2, so these boys have really started the season on the front foot.
Yeah, well, they didn't do too well. Oh, as Banana Josh gets a little bit loose. I think he dropped the wheel just there in the end of the braking zone. It kept it together. Very difficult track here if you drop a wheel off. All that sand. Yeah, you do not want to be doing that. Sweep down the hill here.
Wonderful corner this. Really difficult to keep the car on line with off camber.
We've got a full grid here, of course. 16 cars. It's going to be mayhem. We're seeing already lots of battling. This last corner that they're about to approach, always a tricky one if you've got 2 cars side by side. Oh, a bit of touching there.
Fubbles!
Jeez.
From nowhere gets that done.
Yeah, he did well to pick up on that spot.
So someone back out of it.
Oof. There's Rango taking the excursion route. You be careful that you don't end up in the pits early.
Rango, of course, who is also Outlaw, one of our resident Americans in the field. It's great to see a few other nations joining us at Roos.
Yes, well, as long as the connections are fine, they're welcome to join us. And as long as the time zone suits them as well. So he's got to get those tyres back up to temp. And I hope he doesn't fly off again. As Stu going to have a look. Not quite close enough.
Oh, we've had a car reset back there actually. Oh, it's been Emo. No, something's gone on at the front of the field. Emo was running up in the top 5, I believe. It's gone all the way to the back.
He was right up there, so something's happened, either dropping a wheel as we said before, or could have been contact.
Yeah.
You guys getting very close to each other, so he's got a long way now to make himself back up there, but starting on the softs here, he'll catch, you would think, those medium runners. So this season we've got racing soft, you can have 1 set of those, and then you've got unlimited sets of the racing mediums. So we think the one stop going to be the way to go here. Oh, a few guys getting out in the dirt just a little bit on exit.
Oh no,
Rango again. Hasn't learnt from the first time, and this time it's not ended well. Into the fence. Now that's 1 position for Emo.
Yeah, I'm sure Emo wouldn't have been too disappointed to see Rango off in the dirt, but that's 2 guys already in the space of 3 laps only who have found themselves well at the back of the pack.
Well, really, consistency is going to be key here more than anything, because those little errors, that dirt is unforgiving, and you can end up very far off track. There's some nice looking liveries here today as well. So look at that Selby livery, looks the goods.
Oh, thank you very much. No, it's really good to be able to implement our Roos famous livery regs again for season 15. Thank you to Captain Risky again for a massive help with those. But it's meant that some of the liveries on show this season are just fantastic, aren't they?
Yeah, no, I have to agree with you there. It's very helpful from you two to get those livery regs up so that everyone has sort of a template to follow. Makes the grids look a lot nicer, in my opinion. Fubbles rocking a bit of a, what was that, a retro?
Yeah, I guess
a Rothman style.
Oh, Groover! Hang on to it, son! Hang on to it! Oh! What a save!
Still got it. I think, what was that, second? So he's lost 2 spots out of it, but
yeah,
happy not to do a Rango there.
Yeah, compared to what Rango did, I'm pretty sure he'll be happy to have just hang on to that.
He's already pushing to take 1 back.
Oh, Groover, of course, someone who is fully used to racing against the Div 1 boys. He's got an absolute wealth of experience as Groover, and he will be absolutely gunning for this Div 2 title, and probably one of the favourites, I dare say.
Yeah, I mean, he's been in Division 1 for so many seasons now, but with our sort of new way of having a look at trying to get close racing, there's quite a split from sort of those Div 1 guys into the Div 2 field, at least in qualifying. So this is probably his best chance at a title. So we see Nax making a return, one of our privateers, in the thick of things, sort of in the front of the mid-pack, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, it's good to see Naxi back, isn't it? It's been some while on hiatus for him, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, real life does get in the way for some of these guys. I know it does for me sometimes, so... Oh, we got some guys who are real wide there behind.
They're dicey. Oh, Josh
again.
and Gas Monkey.
Gas Monkey
Wow.
too. Yeah, they're loving that dirt out there.
As long as they don't love it too much.
Having basically no ripple strip to speak of, making it very difficult to get to the limit without running over it.
Yeah, without a doubt. Let's talk about this strategy a little bit more. Of course, this season we're running 4 times tyre wear and 2 times fuel. So where's that leave us in terms of what these guys are looking to do for the 36 laps?
Well, it's a toss-up between a 1 and a 2 stop. We think, looking at the numbers, that the 1 stop is the way to go. But if you can't manage those tyres, you're going to be forced to run the 2 stop. And of course, with the tyre regulations, you cannot use the softs again. So it can hurt you. However, those worn softs are not faster than the medium tyre, so it's always good to see a bit of strategy come into play. Of course, we've got most of the field starting on the softs tonight. We've got 5 drivers starting on the medium, so you sort of see them in a little pack. There you go, with yours truly leading that pack of 5 cars, and then the guys who'd spun off catching up behind. So these guys, you look out for them sort of in the second half of the race when they get that soft tyre on and start to make up some spots.
Yeah, it'll get exciting at that point. Of course, these strategies they're all worthwhile. The guys starting on the mediums they've done their thinking, they've thought about what's going to work for them, and if you look at the gap just between yours truly and Gas Monkey just ahead, it's really not losing you that much time initially.
Yeah, I mean, you really want to look at the gap from... Oh, we got someone
What's
off.
that? Oh, old-timer.
Old-timer. So, if he's the only car, yeah, once again, probably a dropped tyre. Could have been some contact, but we didn't catch it.
It's just so easy to do around here.
Easy. So now we've got those 3 at the back that have spun. Just noticing before, Motor's quite far back. Being another sort of Division 1 stable for the last few seasons, he's not doing too well at the moment. He's running sort of low to mid 17s on the mediums. If we compare that with the drivers ahead of him.
Oh, actually,
the soft tyres on the 15s. There you go. So high 16s to low 17s, about half a second difference. Yeah, a few other guys getting a quicker, faster lap than him, but the consistency sort of not there. So he's sort of hanging on the back of Max, but not really making any inroads. So hopefully, once he gets those soft tyres on, he can hopefully show us what he's capable of. Of course, being the first race, we do not know what the trend is going to be.
No, it's hard to pick someone early on just to see how they go and what they're doing for the season. Of course, GT King 7 laps in has a absolutely ridiculous gap to Tubster in second. So I think if you're going to pick an early favourite for how this season is going to run, GT King's sort of trying to put his name out there. But like you said, I mean, it's a fresh, clean slate, isn't it?
And even looking at the results of this race, we know it's a favourite track of his. So we do not know if he's going to struggle at the other tracks this season. Maybe this will just be his best result. But with a lead like that already, only 7 laps in, he's going to be a hard one to overtake.
Absolutely right, and we've seen as well that drivers, especially around Willow Springs, it's one of the harder tracks around this game. And people just tend to struggle with it. Keeping it between the lines is a lot easier said than done around here. There's absolutely no margin for error, and if you even test the envelope, you will get cut out of it.
Yeah, we see a inter-team battle here. I wonder if team orders come into effect this early.
Well, it's that's of course, team captain ahead of... Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, Ursine showed plenty of pace, though, in qualifying. So, I guess they probably hold station for now. Although Ursine might be enjoying some fuel save. Of course, you cannot make it on a tank if you go flat out.
No, that was something that was pretty clear early on, as that was a bit of a
Having
dive
look
there. Oh, there's contact!
Oh, he's forced him wide.
Oh, Josh. Tell you what, that was... oh, and Monkey gets into it as well. That was a bit rude from John O'Clint.
Oh, look, hard for us to say. It looked like he forced him wide.
Oh, okay. Bigger one there. And we've had someone off in the background as well.
Now Nack's taking advantage.
Oh, it's Groover!
No, Groover!
Oh, no.
He hasn't been able to save that one. Where is he? Wow, off in the dirt there.
And that's big contact as well. He's had front left damage.
Probably lost the right rear on the exit of the left-hander just before that, because he was speared off into the fence at a 90-degree angle to the circuit, so that damage had come from the fence. Oh, wow, he's got a lot to make up now.
It's a race of attrition so far, 8 laps in, and look how many we've lost from the pack.
Yeah, 3 soft runners behind the medium starters. Fubble's still holding third.
Well, that's he's inherited third after that Groover mistake.
Yes, so that's true. Although I wonder how his tyres are going. Fubble's historically not very good on tyres, and you can see he's worn them quite a lot compared to Ursine, who's catching him now. So Ursine dispatched of Jono through that sort of sequence of physical events.
It's a hard slog for Fabbles. I mean, I totally see where he's coming from. Of course, Fabbles has always been quite public about the difficulty of saving tyres whilst using a controller. And you can see it clear as day just comparing Ursine's tyre wear to Fabbles's. And it's just night and day, isn't it?
I suppose it must be disheartening because you can be so fast in qualifying and be right up there and then just fall backwards as the race progresses.
Yeah, totally agree. And it's something that I've felt as well, being a predominantly DS4 using driver. Yeah. No matter how much practice you do or how much finesse that you can pick up saving tyres, it'll never ever beat what they can do on a wheel.
Doesn't compare to a wheel, yep. And here we go, Ursine looking down inside, Fubbles not putting up much of a fight.
Ooh. Hanger on the outside, a little longer than I would have thought.
Maybe just mistimed the jump back in.
One thing
hard to hold on as well.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed as well about Fubbles' steering, you'll just see the car's not really moving fluid, as per you might see in every other car. It seems like it's, like you see there, it's wiggling a lot.
Jumps, yeah.
Yeah. And that may be down to the way he's using the steering input, or it may actually be a bit of lag coming into play.
I wonder if he's a D-pad, sorry, directional pad, which is the buttons for left and right, which would explain that movement.
Yeah. I have heard of people still using that all the way into GT Sport, so it wouldn't surprise me.
You'd use the analog stick so you could at least get some form of sort of linear steering. Oh, as he touches the dirt there. But it's not always that simple if it's not what you're used to.
Absolutely not. He's got Matthias.
Jono now catching him.
Jono. It's always hard to differentiate.
Some of us on the forums, known as Matthias. Don't know why he's decided to go for 2 names, like he thinks he's hot stuff, but...
What do you mean thinks?
Number 95, Kachow.
Kachow.
I think it's Kerchow, but good try.
Kerchow.
Obviously don't have kids. Anyway, leave that there. Fubble's very close to the edge of the circuit.
Yeah, Matthias will just be sizing him up right now, seeing where he can roll on past him. He's got a lot of tyre wear advantage, and so far it looks like the lap speed advantage too, as Fubbles runs it real wide through 2.
Well, I mean, there's not much you can do, but being that there's so many, those long sweeping corners, they just rip the tyres to shreds if you're over sort of turning too much.
Totally agree.
Inherently happens on a controller because you've got much less control.
Well, that's the thing. Your difference between no lock and full lock is about a centimetre of steering. So to keep it within that window and pointing the right direction and just keeping it in a range where the tyres aren't going to be absolutely shredded is an art.
So what are we now? There's Jono making the move. We're on lap 11. Probably looking about lap 16, possibly, for the soft... Whoa, Jono very wide. Inviting Fubbles back into her there.
He went in there with a bit of heat, didn't he?
So yeah, we think maybe lap 16 for the first soft runners to pit, although some drivers like Fubbles might have to jump early because of that extra wear.
Yeah, Fubbles
should be helping.
He'll have to think about something to do because he's just sort of plummeting through the field here. We know he's got a lot of pace. He qualified strongly and he was holding on to third for quite some time. But you can just see he's starting to bottleneck a few other drivers. We've got Josh coming in behind, Nax behind him, Gas Monkey, and then we've got some medium runners who are closing up.
How far? Yep, they've started the gap's sort of coming down now, so we're getting towards the end of the soft stint. So those mediums obviously holding on longer. Also, these guys battling wouldn't be helping their causes.
To see if there's a couple of drivers who are just sort of losing their touch in terms of consistency. Fubbles now right within Josh's sights, and he's been running, you know, mid to high 16s. We'll take a look at Fubbles, who's running into the 18s now.
Yeah, that front left is, yeah, it's cooked, half done down there. So he's going to have to bring that in early because he's just hemorrhaging time. If the medium guys are faster than that, it's not worth staying out.
And there it is, 16.8 from yourself, so that is, it's pretty clear now what needs to be done for those guys.
I'd say that's probably slipstream assisted, but still.
And Fubbles has just got to be careful here because you do...
Teammates.
Yeah, teammates as well, but you put 1 foot wrong and suddenly you're going to go from bleeding time to out in the weeds very quickly.
Really, he'd be wanting to let Josh through here and then hold up Nax behind.
Probably I do. Oh, he's just holding him up a lot here.
Teammates or not though, you still want to keep every place you can.
Yeah, there's a point where you're costing yourself both time. Fubbles right now costing himself time running defensively, costing Josh time defending him, and he's just bottlenecking the whole field and compromising his teammates. So maybe not the best team play, but...
As you can see there, though, Nax wouldn't be bothered because why so serious? Says
No,
on the bumper.
Absolutely not. Aside from the lack of livery regs on Nax's car, though, it would be beneficial for Nax at this stage. He's got a bit of a chance to dive at Josh whenever he needs to, and he can save a lot of fuel in behind these guys.
Oh, well, we'll have to get you to take some pictures of that and make him up a livery that's similar but follows the regulations.
Now, I would be happy to.
There you go. He's taken advantage of that. Josh going wide. Nax just down the inside. Josh into the dirt, and Fubbles jumps in. What happening there? So our first pit stop. 62 litres of fuel left in that car. I wonder if I'll have to take any.
Yep.
He will.
The car just parked up there. That's Groover.
Oh, gee.
That's a bit of an unorthodox spot, don't you think?
We do like to have the cars parked up in the pits so we don't have the flags. We see another pit stop here.
Oh, how good's that green?
Yeah, it's very nice. A bit of a, what is that, like a snakeskin style down the side.
Now, I sort of held something against Risky for a little bit about that one. He actually, I won't say he stole my idea, but before he made that livery, we were both chatting about it, and I was telling him about what I was going to do for the Selby cars with this sort of curve over the rear wheel, and he thought, you know, that's such a good idea, I might use it. And I thought, haha, he's joking, isn't he?
Well, I guess in his life, you're the inspiration.
You know, you've made me all teary. I don't know what to do. I'm speechless.
Grab a tissue from the stack over there and...
No, they're used. But anyway, we've got you now up into 7th place. No, stop. No more references to it. You've dispatched of Gas Monkey, so and we've got yellow flags now on the front straight.
On the side of the road there.
That's
so
less than ideal.
Hopefully we get no incidents because of that. So those mediums supporting pretty well.
Go.
Nax and Josh having a fight, so Nax did take advantage of Josh being held up by Fubbles. Now Josh trying to get back. I think this will be a good one to watch.
Yeah, these are two guys who are very renowned for their aggressive racecraft, I guess it could be said. They sort of just chuck everything into a fight, and it's kind of the battle you'd want to be seeing.
Yeah, not sure if I'd call it aggressive, maybe confident might be a word
Yep,
I'd use.
no, that's probably accurate. They definitely don't second guess themselves, do they?
No, I wouldn't say so. Conviction would be another word. Let's see what happens here. Josh obviously very close. Okay, he's put out slipstream there, but back in as they round the corner. Will Nax go defensive?
It's hard to get offensive in this corner. You can run the inside line. It's Josh.
Does Josh very well, helping his cause there. And again in the dirt, he's making that. He's going to have a rut there soon.
You know, I was about to say he was doing everything he could to throw himself off the road without going off the road.
Oh, here we go. Looking at the outside.
Oh, Nax.
Squeezed!
Oh.
My goodness, that was probably just a tad too far, making contact and Josh being in the sand.
I think I'll reserve my judgment of that one. Jono's stand probably in a bit of trouble for it, but we'll let him slide.
Okay, so there is no Jono stand in this.
Sorry,
grid,
no, that was force of habit. My
that
bad.
was force of habit. That was actually Nax there.
Okay, my apologies.
So Josh falling back into the medium runners now.
Yeah, so you've got at this stage 17.3 last time by, so sitting in the low 17s now at Hatfield, and Josh sitting high 17s. It's probably a little bit misleading, seeing as he's been in a bit of a heated battle with an axe.
Just for viewers at home, if they're paying attention, apologies, looks like we've got a bit of a glitch. You can see a P for pit stop on the right there for cars that have not pitted yet.
Oh, yep. Bit of an odd one.
Normally, I think with the pit stop, if we go to some of the soft runners, or if we go to Fubbles, we know he's pitted. Emo in the thick of it, still making his way through.
And it seems like he's coming in this lap. He's got the blinker on this time.
That probably was an error of a button press.
Yep, I believe it was.
Or a psych out going past me here and then shutting the door.
Good psych out takedown.
Incy would be proud.
Wouldn't he?
The ICR boys battling just behind. Oh, there we go. So Josh, so you can see there with the 3 Ps in a row.
Oh, 3
got
pit
the
stops.
one with no time, and then the long time for the exit.
So other than Fubbles, that would be one of our first front-running drivers, as per se, to make a pit stop. So this will be pretty good to see just how well the front 3 go, pulling an overcut, I should say, as
we've lost
the car off.
It's
Fubbles.
Fubbles. I was going to say he pitted early and he was still ahead of Josh, and that maybe Josh's battling had been part of that, but then yeah, that's done it.
It's kind of over and out, isn't it?
Now. Although still ahead of Motors and Rango, so they're struggling quite a lot. And of course Groover, who struggled the most and decided to give up. Massive lead now. My goodness, look at that.
Yeah, who have we seen this from in the past? Just a stupid lead and running away from the field.
I don't know, who have we seen it from in the past?
Oh, I was genuinely asking you.
Oh, Keaton.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, it's
hang on, Keaton isn't here this season. Have we seen these guys in the same room before?
Oh, yes, I have actually. Yep. Yep, definitely.
Okay. Ignore the conspiracy theory. So
yeah, put him away.
Times, though, mid to low 16s. Tyres looking shot. But
that is ridiculous.
He's a second faster than second place, so at least on the worn tyres anyway. So handling himself very well up front.
To his teammate as well. That's a huge margin.
Tubbs not to be laughed at though. Still, he's holding second. 14 other drivers behind him. Ursine probably catching at this stage. High 16s.
He's hung on to his softs relatively well. You can see he's just sort of hung around the 16s for a couple laps now, but he's not quite dipped out of them. We'll see what he does this time by.
And he has pulled a gap on Johnny. There we go. Tubbs just pitted so from second. Be interesting to see where he comes out, because they have made quite a big gap to most of the field. So, and Jono in behind as well.
Take a splash of fuel as well. And I think he'll clear you in 4th position. Hatfield comes down pit straight.
So the top 3 will be able to pit and maintain a podium at this stage.
There you go. That's well, actually, if we look at, so it was Ursine catching Tubster. I tend to think the gap between Hatfield and Tubster is probably similar to where Ursine was, so that'll be a bit of a close one come the final stages of the race. Of course, Hatfield yet to put the soft tyre on if he elects to.
Well, looking at those mediums, I don't know if they'd hold for the rest of the race.
Now that's a chat.
They might hold, but whether or not they would be competitive.
Yeah, that's a chat that many a driver have had coming into this season, of course. With GT Sport electing to extend their pit stop times, it has been... We'll put that on hold, actually, as the race leader comes in. Now, this isn't going to be any huge pit stop of the race. I think with the gap that GT King has, he's not really at threat of losing the lead.
And no fuel.
There you go.
So even able to save during all that.
Very impressive. Very impressive as Ersan comes in as well.
So that's the top 3 have all pitted now.
I think this is the one we're watching now. If we watch this man here coming down the pit straight, we'll have to see if Ersan can clear him coming out of the pit lane.
And he does.
He does by some margin. Actually, that was not as close as I thought it would be. Ersan with some strong closing laps of that stint, and he has held on to P3.
Hatfield, a lot of work after a pit stop to get anywhere onto that podium.
Well, I think the interesting thing is that the pit stop really isn't as long as a lot of us expected coming into this round. I think with back to the point of the pit stop delta being extended, a lot of us expected it to be 15, maybe 20 seconds for a stop with fuel. I think what we found was a 10, 12 second stop at most.
And some people not needing to take the fuel, so knocking a few more off even.
Absolutely. Now, when is it that we're going to see these medium drivers coming in? Because, of course, soft drivers are just finishing their stops now around lap 20. You'd think that mediums would start to peel in now.
This lap, because the optimal tyre life was probably 16 laps on the soft and 20 on the medium.
Yep.
Give or take, depending on how you go with that. But we should probably see a few guys jump in this lap.
So they go. Oof.
Going it.
That was opportunistic, wasn't it?
Well,
it's not done yet.
First Hatfield's in, and Stu follows behind.
There we go.
Yeah, that was worn mediums to Jono on the new mediums.
He couldn't get out of his way fast enough, could he?
Well, he wanted to pit, though, and get stuck on the inside.
Absolutely not. Stu not needing a pit stop for fuel either. He's able to come out.
Very well done. There you go. Hatfield and Emo.
Oh, speaking of Emo.
Oh, no.
Oh, he's got it all wrong again. That was in real close proximity to Hatfield there. Have you got any insight into what happened?
I can tell you exactly what happened. Yeah, I came out of the pits and I was on the apex, and he approached and tried to go around the outside too fast and just slid off the exit of the track, unfortunately.
It's just so easy to do.
I think just misjudged it, sort of approached the corner, thought he could probably do it, didn't expect me to be there, but that's just the way that it was.
It's just the way it is. Some things will never change.
Yeah, well, you believe them. You see Nax and Josh still going at it, side by side, heading into the last corner.
Oh!
Josh with the big both a bit of smoke out that rear tyre, keeps it off the dirt this time. We see someone peel in. That was Mr. Gassett.
Gassett going long on his mediums. He's trying to eke a couple
push
more laps.
Those softs quite hard. Try and get a bit more pace out of them.
I'm interested to know if Josh is able to return serve to what Naxi's done, because these two, of course, have just been going at it for the best part of 22 laps now, and we don't really know who's got the better pace out of them.
Well, I think that Josh does, because he was in front of Nax for most of the time, with Nax only able to get past when Josh was balked by the slower fubbles on the worn tyres. And since then, Josh has been all over the back of him, even after taking that small dirt excursion with half the car. He's closed right back up. So I think for Josh, it's going to be about where does he make the move and get it to stick safely.
Well, it's probably going to be a lot about tyre preservation too, between these two blokes who can just sort of nurse their tyres the best in these final 14 laps. See, 4 times doesn't sound like a lot, but it's been one where when we're running this amount of laps and we're pushing this hard, we found that the tyres just aren't responding that well at a track like Big Willow. So we'll see who's got the
thing
life.
they're going to have to contend with is that drive on the softs behind.
Oh,
so that's
funny
something for Josh to think about, because he might be able to use that to his advantage.
Absolutely
Wait
right.
and see.
No, I didn't even think of that. We've got Hatfield, of course, absolutely careering towards these two, and at this stage probably on for a probably a P4 finish.
Top 5 probably.
Someone actually polling a wide up there.
Fresh softs should be able to dispatch of them.
Oh, here we go. Josh is trying to force it. Naxi's got the outside line, but it becomes the inside for the top of the hill here, and suddenly look who is in. It's Hatfield.
Taking advantage there. 3 wide.
Oh, don't go 3 wide here, no. As Hatfield, oh, bit of a bump, keeps it on.
That hasn't worked out for him. Old timer now, having a look.
Of course, old timer as well is on the is on the medium tyre, fresh medium, albeit.
Not able to make the pass there. Here they go. Bit of slipstream. Knacks a bit of breathing room from that.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of time to run here. Hatfield will need to get this move done on Banana Josh. That gap through to...
Oh, that's helped him out.
Oh, where's he gone?
Where is he? Is he going back?
Oh, okay, he's on.
But that has hurt him because he'd probably lose that spot to Old Timer, and he does.
Just conceded that one. Smart of Josh to duck in behind, and suddenly it's going to become Nax v Hatfield for P5.
Oh, Josh is going to...
Oh, there we go. Done already. Great move.
Nax, of course, going defensive on the inside there, but sliding a little bit too wide and leaving the door wide open.
That was a textbook move there from Hatfield. Well done.
Thank you. It's not often you get to watch yourself be amazing.
No, it's oh god, come on now, I've got to stop.
I mean, I bought mirrors for all of my house, but no, let's get back on. Rango, giving Motors the hurry up here.
Oh, he's trying to use the grass on the inside, and it's just proven too much.
Spun himself out. Yeah, he's tried to force the point there, and the car's got unsettled. Almost run out of braking boards there for turn 3. Rejoins.
Just one of those unfortunate Willow Springs mistakes, I feel. You just get 2 wheels in that inside dirt and there's no real way to understand what happens.
He's at least got mid-pack pace, but once again, the consistency to keep it on the road hasn't materialised, and that's going to be the catalyst here.
Speaking of catalysts, we've had something happen to cause these two to just absolutely close up to each other. It's Tubster and
just caught up to him. So what is Tubster doing? Sort of mid-average 16s, and then Ursine running sort of average low 16s.
He's running very quick
on the last lap.
Not to be ignored either. Ursine was, only a fraction away from being a Div 1 driver this season.
Yeah, we had a bit of discussion between the bottom of Div 1 and the top of Div 2. We sort of crept into the numbers required for Div 1 so we could sort of keep this Div 2 pace pack together, but we'll have to wait and see what the season holds, whether we have to throw a few guys up there.
I think after the first round and what transpired, it's disappointing to see the grid that we had, but some of the racing up the top was absolutely like some of the best we've seen in Div 1, so it's difficult because obviously you'd love to have that full grid and you'd love to have that show put on for those who want to see it, but at the same time, if it's not broken, don't fix it, and the racing is flawless, so.
Well, it's good to hear that you guys had a good race in Division 1.
Oh, actually that's a car off big time back there, it's Old Timer.
Old Timer again.
Oh, that was the pit wall.
That's a nail in the coffin.
I was keeping an eye on that one. It was really heating up. Coming up around the top of the hill, they were all going at it, and I just saw him get a little bit wide out of the final corner, and that was, jeez, that's a horrible accident.
Promotes Fubbles back into the top 10. Oh yeah, that damage lit up like a Christmas tree, and
he's parked it.
Like that's the end for Old Timer.
That's
should have parked up in the pits.
It would have been nice. That's an absolutely
got yellow flags there, so.
That's a demoralising incident to be involved in.
Probably she could have kept going. Rango's still catching up.
He is, isn't he? Actually, Rango, I believe, has been lapped already. That's still... There he is. So Rango, of course, he's not had the best start to season 15, but he's still kicking. Lap 26 now, and he's just taken Old Timer 14th.
Lap 26.
Well, back to the battle for second place, of course. Gamesman versus Next Level Racing. 2 of our longest standing teams now in the GT Championship.
Ursine seems to, like, the gap sort of held recently.
Well,
it doesn't seem any closer than when we last checked.
Yeah, it's not an easy place to pass around, so Ursine will just be... I mean, I say this a lot, but he's shaping him up. Anytime you're behind a driver, you're thinking about what your next move is and how you're going to be making that dive or getting the drive to go by them. It's never an easy or straightforward thing to do to pass someone, especially guys like Tubster.
Right. You have to analyse the way they drive, and then you get a bit closer, maybe they try some defensive moves. You've got to sort of read all that and figure out where am I going to make that that attempt. So once you make it, they're onto you, you know. The leading driver then can think, okay, they're going to try that, and then try to counter your manoeuvre. It's a bit like 4D chess, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. And while that's been happening, Hatfield's just taken P4 off John O'Clint, so the late charge on softs is proving pretty beneficial for Hatfield. But I tend to think, what's that? Maybe a
It's quite a large
8-9 second gap.
It?
Yeah, it's a lot to make up. As here we go, Erskine going for the move now.
Second a lap there. Yeah, he's having a look.
Yeah, can't quite make it down there. Tubbs has carried enough speed around the outside, but he knows he's having a sniff down there. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can't. Where else can you do it? Coming into this left-hander, you can sort of have a dive, but the other car then gets the inside for that next sort of 2 right-handed turns. So try and line them up here for a dive, but once again, the next corner goes the other way, so it makes it a bit tricky. You sort of want to be in the slipstream coming off the last corner.
Yeah, you're right. It's pretty much the only place to effectively get it done. There's a lot of places where you can kind of stick the nose in there and hope for the best, but it's kind of not worth it this late in the race, especially when you're fighting for a podium spot.
And we've seen when you go off the track, sometimes you go very far.
Yeah, that could be said. I've seen a couple cars end up in Las Vegas.
So having a look. No, thought he might have looked down the inside. Ducked in behind. Like we said, going to grab that slipstream coming on the main straight. Which side will he pick? Sticking right with him. Jink to the inside.
Oh, he just
can't quite get there.
He's not committing hard enough, and you'd see Tubbs has got a lot of room on the outside, so it's not like he's sending it into that corner that hard, but Ersine's just second-guessing himself there, and he doesn't want to commit fully to that move for one reason or another.
You would think he would have gotten alongside a lot earlier, so maybe he's touched the rear coming out of that corner, giving Tubbs a bit of a boost.
It's entirely possible. I just think in the actual braking zone for one, the move's definitely there for the taking. He's got the run. He's far enough up. He's just not making that final lunge for one reason or another. I'm not quite sure why yet.
Yeah, you're still correct on that point.
Yeah.
even the position they were in, not having the car sort of alongside.
And it's Josh again.
Josh. He's not having a good run in that area.
No, he's not. That's what his second, maybe third off.
Test the suspension. Yeah, not a race to remember for Banana.
It had so much promise as well. Banana Josh was running well inside the top 5 at one stage, and he's just kept on slipping.
I consider that he had the pace over Nax, and what's Nax in? Probably 6th.
6th it is, correct. With Disco Stew all over him now, coming into the final corner.
Well, I think what's Stew on? Is he on the
that'd be the mediums. No, softs.
No, softs, that's right. He was one of the medium starters, so can he take 6th place?
Of course, Nax is
starting to wear now, and Nax very good at being defensive.
About to say, he's not a driver who particularly likes being overtaken, as he absolutely sends it into turn 1 sideways.
Does anybody like being overtaken? Come on now.
Oh,
I don't think you can interview any driver and say, do you enjoy being overtaken? Oh yes, I live for the thrill of being passed.
You know, I'm actually going to say that to someone now.
Yeah, well you would.
I know.
Having looked out on the outside, nothing doing there.
It's a bit of a risky move there, what Nax does, just that closing in the braking area, making sure the car on the outside doesn't have anywhere to go. But if someone like Disco Stew just kept the nose in, you're sort of risking wiping both of you out.
Yeah, well, that'd be a problem for the stewards. Not for us right now, I suppose.
I'd just be...
He didn't do it.
No, absolutely right, and he's holding on to 6 so far. As Disco Stew
trying to get down the inside. Nax closing the door before he could get the nose in.
He's just looking for any opportunity he can now to get up alongside Nax. Of course, Nax is making it perfectly clear he doesn't intend on letting this one go.
And those tyres are not going to be fresh forever. Stew in the slipstream. Nax going defensive.
So Nax might give him the squeeze. He goes deep again.
He's broken too early. Not enough commitment. Try to switch back. He's on the wrong side of the road. He hasn't cleared him. Nax doing very well there. Stew just need a bit more confidence under brakes into turn 1. He would have had him.
go on board here with Stu as he's just looking for any opportunity. Nack's going really defensive here.
I think there was probably a car length on the left, but I would say that. He's having a look down the inside. Oh, they're going to be side by side coming down the hill. I think. Has he cleared him?
He has.
He has.
Well done, Stu. Made a gap out of absolutely nothing there. I did not expect that to occur.
Oh, he did well. I think Nax wasn't expecting it. Stu got the car sort of what looked to be half a length or more down the inside before turn in.
That was good.
And,
he definitely caught him by surprise, didn't he?
Those softs, doesn't he? Make that gap. Make no mistakes, because Nax is still there and he's still got slipstream.
He's probably a little bit far back to have a run, but if he can just keep the lap pace up, it's not quite over for him, like you said.
Well, those softs will turn off. Speaking of tyres turning off, Fubbles is Gas Monkey for company. Gonna lose that top 10 spot if he can't hold him behind.
Just say Gas Monkey is currently on much fresher mediums. Wow, look at the look at the difference between tyre life.
Fubbles did pit very early.
It's true. He's been carrying these
softs.
a long time.
And tail.
Ah, that pace difference through the corner is just unbelievable.
Yeah, even though you look at the gap here, by the time they exit the corner, you think you'd be right with him.
You'd think so, yeah. It's just in every part of this track. He's got a huge advantage currently.
Once again, where does he make that dive?
Bubbles runs it wide, and it just sort of works there. He can run a little bit more defensive, and Gas Monkey just gives him a little tap there. Sends him wider than he probably would have liked.
Yeah, this one's tricky as the tyres wear. As the outside of the corner approaches you very fast. Into the slipstream now. Going to head through that flat section. Second to last corner. Will he go for the inside? Or do you tuck in behind, get the slipstream down the straight, and try it at turn 1?
I think unless you're in a train, you just tuck in behind. You're not going to gain anything as he has him off there. Oh.
Slightest tap.
Tell you what, tough
Hard to say, isn't it, from our angle? Oh, was someone ammo getting all the... Still got the blinker on.
Yeah, no, that's we probably didn't have the right camera angle there to know what happened between Fubbles and Gas Monkey.
It's tricky. You don't know if you had an overlap when
yeah, exactly right.
Happened. Yep. We don't know if it was an early turn in or whatnot. So
yeah. Oh,
with
what a race.
daylight in second.
What a race he has had so far. Only 3 laps to go now.
Someone now.
Well, he's lapped a couple drivers now. I believe it is, of course, Old Timer and Groove parked up.
Yeah, Rango and
Motors are about to be lapped.
Motors.
Yep.
There's the blue flags now.
I don't quite think you'll get to him. GT King just dipping into 17s. That's probably a bit of an off lap from him, but you know, Motors again, one of those drivers who's a Div 1 regular at this stage.
Yeah, but
he's found himself Div 2.
Struggling here. Struggling very much.
Have we seen
his pace
mistakes?
Probably in the 17s on the softs now. Ursine's still not able to get the move done. Easy question, no. Motors, we haven't seen mistakes. Just no pace.
Yeah.
No pace.
Bit of a mystery, that one. This has been a frustrating battle for Ursine, I would imagine.
Well, how are his tyres compared to Tubster, if we have a quick look?
Identical.
Tubster a little bit more wear. Just a sliver. Not enough to make too much difference.
More or less an even playing field for these two. Yeah, Tubster makes the first big mistake.
He's made an error.
Oh, he's gone a long way off too, and Ursine will come through to take second.
Yeah, sliding on the rejoin, not going to help. I think that's what Ursine needed. And he's just going to get it done otherwise.
He's got to put his head down now. He's got to make sure that Tubster doesn't get another opportunity to get that second place back.
Tubster would be kicking himself, but he hasn't got time to do that if he wants to try and get the spot back.
Absolutely right. As Gassett now, where has he come from? He's had a bit of a quiet one, hasn't he?
Done well to come through the field. Looks like he's dispatched of Nax. He'd be on those medium tyres, but Max is off, starting to wear.
Oh, and have we lost share play there?
Yep, you've lost me there.
We have, okay.
Keep going.
Yep, only 2 laps to go now, so we'll press on. Naxi's just slowly dropping back further from Max here, so probably a 7th place gone begging there for Nax, who was held onto his tyres relatively well, considering.
Well, what's probably hurt him was all that early battling he was doing.
Well,
He was doing a
that's
lot
the
of
thing.
defending.
He was doing so much of that, and he's really, that's what I'm thinking. Like, he's got a lot of pace left in him, considering how hard he was fighting.
It's hard to say if it would have been better to let those guys by though, because I mean, if he'd let Josh by, he may not have spun later, type thing. So
yeah, it's one of those ones where you can think a lot about where things might have not happened, but I mean it did. So
I think just fight for your position. It's more entertaining for us at least.
yeah, there's always a point where you can analyse it and go, I should have fought here, I shouldn't have fought here, but oh well, it is what it is. As we jump on with GT King here, it's been an absolutely flawless drive from this man. From lights to flag, he has just been untouchable, and he's really. Oh yeah, there's no misusing that word. He has had a stunning masterclass for bonkers, stonks, yes, drive.
All of the words.
All of the words, as we'll see GT King here, coming around the final corner and across the line for the first round of the Div 2 Championship Season 15. That is a well-deserved win from GT King. And it's Urson Saturn who is coming around the final corner now. He's managed to beat the Tubster in that epic battle we saw for so many laps. Of course, Tubster just putting a foot wrong when he least needed it. And it'll be Urson Saturn in the 42 Next Level Racing entry to take P2, with Tubster in behind for P3 for Gamesman. So that's a 1-3 for Gamesman, so great start for those boys.
Yeah, very well deserved from all the podium there, especially from GT King. It's an unbelievable drive.
Absolutely, and it's Hatfield with the soft tyres on at the end. Comes through to take P4, and Jono Clinton for P5. Disco Stew with a lot of late pace as well for P6, and it's Max Gassett who actually has Naxi closing in on him late for P7 and 8. We've got a little bit of a gap back to Banana Josh, who just seems so close to a solid race all night. Who will come across for a lowly P9 at the first Selby cars. Yeah, it's kind of the story of a lot of these guys' nights, isn't it? Just potential, but yet to figure out the car, and throughout the season they'll work it out.
I think with Max and Nax there, Max ran a bit longer on those mediums, so it was later in the race that the soft sort of switched off, where the mediums became quicker, so that may have worked out in his favour there at the end.
Totally agree, and it's Gus Monkey who will round out the top 10. Ammo in behind at 11th. Fubbles, another one of our unlucky drivers, coming home in 12th with Motors and Rango for 13th and 14th. And it will be Old Timer, who is still parked up after his pit wall incident. That was a huge crash. He'll take 15th. And Garuva has actually disappeared from the lineup, so he must have ducked out at some point, but he will
probably
be...
ducked out once the race finished, but 16th place on our sheets.
So there you go. What a race. That was action-packed from start to finish. Who was your driver of the day, do you think, Hatfield?
Put me on the spot, but I'd have to say GT King. I mean, you can't just... with a lead like that, after a full race distance, didn't put a foot wrong. I don't think we saw probably no dirt on that car at all. Just dust-free.
It's
don't even need the car wash at the end.
And I had to have a laugh to myself.
Saving. Didn't have to take a leader, did he?
No, exactly right. And when you said put me on the spot, I had to have a laugh to myself because I've got the same answer. It's GT King all the way. It's been a Div 1 worthy drive.
Well, that's a consensus. 100% of all votes tallied.
Well, there you go. So does that make him the ultimate driver of the day, or?
Well, at least for Division 2, and at least for anyone watching this, all 5 of you guys. Thank you.
Let's hope there's a few more than 5 in the end. Are we going to do this for future rounds, do you think?
Well, I think if we can keep the big grids, it'd be a great spectacle. Round 2, of course, at Tokyo South Inner Loop, Tokyo Expressway track. Very different to Big Willow. Not a speck of sand in sight. Lots of concrete. We'll probably see quite a few sparks flying from cars scraping up against the walls. It'll be very tricky, especially we've got a very interesting sort of pit entry around the sort of outside of a hairpin, so it'll be interesting there, seeing guys dive in and good overtaking manoeuvres into that hairpin as well. So I can't wait.
Oh, it's going to be one of our more spectacular rounds, I dare say, especially under the floodlights of Tokyo. I am very excited.
Yeah, as always, we have been the Super B team.